Good morning, my peeps. Just here to drop a little knowledge again today. Give some information that uplift, gives strength, quite honestly. I want to talk about today France. Now, when I was growing up and I got to listen to Americans talk about France, it was always in regards to World War II. It was always, we pulled them out of the war. Pulled their butt out of the war. Yeah, they had some problems with the Nazis, just like everybody did. Yeah, totally, completely. But what I'll say is this. For pulling France out of the war, I think a pretty equal contribution there was France's love of freedom. Now let me share some knowledge. Probably already know, but if you don't, check this out. It's pretty cool. France in the 1400s decided they weren't going to have a Donald Trump in office. They weren't going to have a dictator there. Louis XIV was a total dictator, starving the people, creating havoc, just like what's going on now, and they said no. So they stormed the Bastille, which was the White House at the time. They took a guillotine and they lopped off Louis XIV's head. Now that established a precedent that the government is actually for the people and by the people, as it's supposed to be, especially in a democracy. So that established a mentality of freedom in France, a love of freedom that said the government is going to fear the people are not going to fear the government. I'd also like to mention that the original Constitution that exists for the United States was actually mirrored from the French Constitution. In fact, the Statue of Liberty was given to the United States as a gift from France. So I look at all these things and I think, wow, man, America really doesn't even say anything about appreciating France and all of the freedom loving that France has given the United States, that is shared with the United States. They've like been buddies in sharing in freedom. But I've never heard very much positive spoken about France or French people or anything. They seem to hate each other. I hear that, in France they're rude because they hate Americans. And in America all they do is talk about how, pulled them out of the war. You know what? Who cares, dude? So I think it's very interesting to recognize that France has had a very positive contribution in terms of loving freedom by people in the United States. They're a good role model. And I maintain that we need to have a government that fears the people rather than a government that says they're going to steamroll the people to go on a photo op to a church or whatever. Right? We don't need people up there talking about how they're going to steamroll the American people that are pissed and angry because they're always treated like garbage. That just ain't going to fly. Right? That's not freedom. You guys have lost the understanding of what freedom is, as evidenced by France. You have lost and forgotten what the Statue of Liberty is, what your Constitution is that's based on their Constitution. You've forgotten what freedom is, and that's why we're in this situation. Now, this kind of segues into another thought that I had, that if we had more opportunity for folks like Mr. Floyd, like George Floyd, probably would have never had the cops called on him. And quite honestly, from what I hear so far about why the cops were even called on him was for passing a bad note, having like 20 or something that's counterfeit. Like someone obviously gave that to him. He's not printing stuff in his basement. Are you kidding me? So I maintain that with greater opportunity, we're going to have less opportunities for people like George Floyd to be killed, right? Because they're going to have better jobs, live in more affluent neighborhoods, not have the cops called on them, not be passing bad bills, whatever the hell you want to pin on them because you try to keep everyone in the ghetto. Just don't fly no more. Everyone needs access to opportunity. I learned this very interesting little fact. I'm a younger guy, in my 40s. I learned that way back before my time, education in the United States was very cheap. It was like Twitter, cheap, 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 cheap. Let's say $5,000 for people who are like in their 60s and 70s. $5,000 could have got you a full education, full ride anywhere you want to go. But then the government said, hey, we're going to loan money out to folks that don't have money. That was a noble cause. That was great. You're supposed to go out and loan money to people that need it for better opportunity, right? For education. So the government said, we're going to go ahead and loan money. And so all the schools, apparently all the colleges decided, wow, free money from the government. Wow, we're just going to rape everybody now. We're going to raise the rates from $5,000 for an entire education to $5,000 as a down payment to even think about going to college. Because it's going to be like hundreds of thousands. Now, when you try to say that a college education should be worth more than a home or a car, dude, you got some problems. Let me remind you of this fact. To produce something, you have to like pull out the ore from the earth and mold it and pay people and have an infrastructure and build it, and it's going to cost you money, and you're going to have to recoup that money and have a profit at the end, and that's building something. Let me ask you about education, though. Why would education cost a lot of money? You're not pulling any ore from the earth. You're not manufacturing, producing anything. You're not using any resources. You're simply putting people around talking about concepts that may or may not be true. That's all education is. Dude, I have educated myself my entire life because I live in the age of information, and I believe that I can go find the information I need about anything. I can sift through the garbage and find the truth because I believe in the truth. And this is the age of information. So I'd be damned if I would pay just to get information. I can get that for free. And you know what I want to do? You know what I'm going to do? I seriously want to start a school where no one pays for nothing. It's totally free. Folks who don't have the money, you come. Folks who got the money, get out. Go to your Ivy League. Go somewhere else. But people that need it, you come learn with me, where it's free. And we get to learn at the grassroots and learn everything there is to know in this world rather than what the top down tells us. So let me remind everybody about freedom, like France teaches us, has always taught us. That needs to be here in the United States. That freedom leads to opportunities to keep people like myself employed, doing what I want to do, what I'm good at, and what I can protect people with my skills. That would have been George Floyd had this society loved freedom and loved truth like I do.